Teleportation might technically not be real, but give John Williams an orchestra in a few months and you'll find yourself in another galaxy, world of wizardry. Hans Zimmer can put you in the dream world, and Howard Shore can set you off on a journey to Mordor. But what happens when you're not doing an epic blockbuster, but instead a small indie about the corpse of Daniel Radcliffe farting through the forest? How do you build a big score that also plays into the absurdity of a movie like Swiss Army Man? This is a love letter to the absurdity, and one of my favorite soundtracks of all time. Swiss Army Man is full of insanely bold choices, and that's what makes it one of my favorite movie experiences. Even where it misses, you still can't quite believe someone's letting them get away with making this. Where else do you find a trailer that literally moves you emotionally, but the lyrics are somebody shouting the word montage over and over, a montage that includes Paul Dano riding Harry Potter like a jet ski. Swiss Army Man is a movie made by and for Dans. 4 Dans to be exact. Debut directors Daniel Kwan and Daniel Scheinert, and the leads Daniel Radcliffe and Paul Dano. Swiss Army Man is a 2016 surreal drama comedy from A24 that's about a man who's attempting suicide after being lost on an island, when suddenly he sees Radcliffe, a corpse, wash ashore. He becomes pseudo-friends with Manny, the farting dead cadaver of the man who once played Harry Potter, and discovers that he can manipulate the corpse like a Swiss Army knife as they try to make their way back to the world. God, when will Hollywood make something original for once? The music was done by Andy Hull and Robert McDowell of the indie rock group Manchester Orchestra. They all met when the Daniels directed their music video for Simple Math in 2011. They were supposed to work on another music video, but the Daniels had just been accepted into the Sundance Labs to develop a script about this guy and this dead body. With the script in hand, they all met back up to work on the score for this batshit insane movie. The result is magic. It's ethereal. Sometimes sounding like monks harmonizing in a giant cathedral, it's this weird, meditative, a cappella bass that builds on itself, ebbing and flowing between beautiful and hilarious. It uses lyrics sparingly, so when they appear, they cut deeper. Like the "I'm fucking crazy" floating through the air at the beginning of the movie.
Crazy, I'm fucking crazy.
But even the beauty is consciously hilarious, like the decision to reinterpret the lyrics from Cotton Eye Joe as a motif. Randomly throughout the movie, you're being moved to tears by a Jurassic Park theme song cover, only to be laughing that the Jurassic Park theme song almost brought you to tears. It borrows from the language you know and turns it on its head. And in doing so, you're lost in a strange yet familiar world, seeking, but also laughing. Hull and McDowell talk about the balance, saying that they'd send drafts out to the Daniels, who would come back and say, "It's amazing, but it's just too beautiful. You've got to make it a little weirder, or a little uglier, or a little more drunk." Daniel Radcliffe said the directors played the songs on set, showing how intentional the soundtrack was in setting up the bizarre world and the tone the rest of the story would live inside. And that's what sells it too, is how much the actors threw themselves into the score, with Paul Dano and Daniel Radcliffe lending their singing to over half the songs in the movie. I mean, seeing the words Cotton Eye Joe featuring Daniel Radcliffe on Spotify is a work of art.
If it hadn't been for Cotton Eye Joe, I'd be married a long time ago.
I like when movies take silliness seriously, to turn it on its head and remind us that it's not serious after all. Not the movie, but life itself, this whole mess. Lighten up a little bit and stop making sense. Memorable movie moments create these tensions between what you're hearing and what you're seeing and force you to pay attention in a different way. Reservoir Dogs plays this upbeat, stuck in the middle with you over a torture scene to show you the sadistic indifference to violence.
You ever listen to K. Billy's Super Sounds of the 70s?
Some of my favorite uses of music are examples of subverting expectations. Even the idea that soundtracks can be funny and moving is kind of a bit of a subversion. In Jojo Rabbit, Taika Waititi does a German cover of the Beatles to compare Nazism's rise amongst kids to Beatlemania stan culture. Taika plays with this in Boy, too.
Wanna see some Michael Jackson dance moves?
You hear Maori covers of Michael Jackson songs as the boy tries to figure out how the stories he hears, the culture he consumes, and the world in his head all fit into his reality in rural New Zealand. It's something familiar that's reinterpreted into this movie's world, but also in a way that keeps things funny. Everything in a movie should play into the concept and the ideas you're exploring. Sure, if it's a serious drama, you might want to play into that, but if you're already going into strange, fucking lean in. The music in Swiss Army Man transports you. You're in this bizarre world. You immediately understand it's not following the normal rules. And in this world, soundtracks can be funny, and funny can be moving. There's a Vampire Weekend ad-lib I love in their album Father of the Bride.
I think I took myself too serious. It's not that serious.
Sometimes movies take themselves too seriously. Put your all into the craft and the project, but at the end of the day, you're expressing yourself. It's art.
Our goal was to take a bunch of equipment and a bunch of friends out into the woods and make a crazy, insane movie that went against a lot of conventional ideas of what a film should be.
I hope that this movie serves as a reminder to others to push the form and take some risks. Go weird. Go absurd. We'd never see Daniel Radcliffe in a booth sadly covering Cotton Eye Joe without artists taking these risks.
I promise I'll fix it, it's all for a reason. It just